Okay, and we're starting it. Protoss versus Zerg, Korea versus Germany on Neo Pizza Bigdu. This is a modified version of a Pro League map in Korea, and it's one that Stork is going to be very, very comfortable on. Stork spawning as an orange Protoss at the north of the map, and at the south we have Mondragon.
In the purple, very stylish.
Yeah, purple's in right now, I heard.
So one thing about this particular map is a lot of various tiers, obviously ramps that can be blocked off. Do you expect this game to be a little bit longer and not as rush prone as some of the other matches that we've seen?
Yeah, I think so. But then again, you know, we watched Stork beat Satanic, and he just zealot rushed him straight up. And
yeah, it was pretty ugly.
Yeah, you know, one thing I gotta say is that Stork's just seems very confident in his ability to micromanage, and that is something that, you know, I actually think there are a lot of foreigners with great micro abilities, but it seems like when the pressure's really on, they don't play in enough tournaments and enough leagues. I mean, it's really hard to manipulate an army using the mouse and the keyboard, you know, and maintaining, you know, continuing to produce. It's really difficult to do, and it seems like some of the foreigners have had a harder time doing that against the Koreans. Here are these small locations I was talking about that large units don't fit through. So that means they have to go along the sides of the map rather than through the middle. Now that makes it really difficult. I mean, you have to put a lot of thought, not only into what unit combination is going to work against my opponent and his army, but how am I going to get those units there, and which way is the best, you know, to do that. Okay, so we see the first gateway going down now. Scouting probe being sent out.
And that drone from Mondragon did see what was going on there.
Yeah, they are both aware of what each other are doing. The big question, I think, at this point in time is he going to one gateway or two gateway? Now, he's doing a little bit more of an unusual opening. He went pylon, gateway, pylon. That's fairly unusual in Protoss versus
Why is that? Explain to us why you think that's unusual.
Well, you normally see three different openers from Protoss. You normally see gateway, then gas, and then they tech to, like, you know, maybe Corsairs or Reavers or Zealot legs, or they two gateway rush like we saw Stork do in that last game, or they fast expand. And I'm not exactly sure. I mean, it's certainly not a bad build, but it just doesn't seem to be teching towards anything specifically fast.
Checking out this probe over here, Tasteless, down in Mondragon's base. Just doing a little bit of harassing. There's at least one drone that's sort of being taken off of mining here, but I don't think it's anything too significant. The thing is that certainly that's keying Stork into exactly what's going on here in the base, while keeping him on his toes and possibly having to take away from his economy a little bit. The Overlord from Mondragon has now stationed himself right next to the Nexus of Stork. So he's going to have a very good idea about what's going on over here. And you can see two Zealots are out on the ramp leading into the base of Stork. But definitely we're not seeing any sort of quick advancement like we've been seeing in some of the other games here.
Yeah, definitely.
In fact, if there is quick advancement right now, it's by Mondrag, and he's already sending his first wave of Zerglings up, and he's very close to meeting up with these Zealots here in just a moment.
Yeah, it looks like at this point in time, Stork does have his ramp defended. Now, I mean, if you have a ramp in a game like StarCraft, it can really dictate how you're going to play the game. But at this point in time, it looks like what Stork's intentions are to expand very safely. He's playing in a very safe fashion. He's going to get this forge out here. He's got these Zealots. He's going to make a cannon over here, and he'll make a Nexus there. And he'll just, I mean, it looks like that's what he's going to be doing. But meanwhile, Mondragon going to run by those Zealots, which Stork has sent out of his base. Probably going to end up intercepting this Zealot. No, excuse me, he's going to turn around, he's going to run back, and he's going to meet with these Zealots. He needs to get there fast, though. Now, Stork does not want to lose too many Zealots, or at least this attack he's going to do. He needs to do as much damage as possible. And at this point in time, Mondragon's going to sneak up right behind him.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. But that Zergling, it looks like the Zealots did break through that line, so they are going to head into the main base of Mondragon. And hopefully using these drones and these Zerglings, he might be able to actually stop this attack here. I don't know. Tasteless, your thoughts?
Well, he's trying to pick off the drones. Meanwhile, Stork is expanding. It's kind of like to divert his opponent's attention. And he's going to try to use these Zealots to swing in here and get drones. But if Mondragon can control his units well enough, he won't lose that many drones. Okay, he only lost 2 drones.
Lost 2, yeah.
That probably did not pay off. whatever that rush Stork did not really pay off. Those can be remade pretty easily. Those Zealots were pretty expensive. And also bear in mind, he's getting his expansion up kind of late. Note the excellent timing of Stork getting those probes the very second the Nexus actually finishes. That just shows you how calculated this player really is.
There is a Soul Zealot over here, and he's actually going to probably get sandwiched right here and take it out. Yes, he will. Another unit lost. And Mondragon was able to stop that initial rush right there. But what has he got in store for him back at base, Tasteless?
Well, Stork's teching pretty gradually, but at this point in time, okay, nice move over here by Stork, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. He's put this Zealots here to try to block off the counterattack, which Mondragon may perform. But Mondragon's already split his Zerglings up into 2 pairs, which means he could come around and surround these Zealots again.
I think that probe saw the Zerglings coming in for the west, but here, this could be it right here. He could try to sandwich these 2, and there are 2 Zealots away from the pack. They're going to start to hit on one of them, but they are going to go back into base. You can see some probes coming out here just in case, and we've also got a 3 line of photon cannons up as well. So what do you think Mondragon's going to do here with these units? Is he just going to hold back and wait?
It looks like he's going to go for a fairly aggressive opener. Mondragon wants to kill Stork. Now that he's lost those Zealots, now that he expanded a little bit slower, he did not get the layer. That's normally what you watch for to see if the Zerg's deciding to tech and go to the next phase of the game. Instead, he's going to get that Hydralisk Den. But look, Stork has snuck a probe around and is going to squeeze his way inside of his opponent's base. And if he sees that Hydralisk Den, he's going to be like, oh, Hydralisks. I need to respond to that. Suddenly, Mondragon, realizing that his opponent snuck that probe around, is returning with these Zerglings. And
in fact, he just walked up to the front door of that Hydralisk Den and rang the doorbell and ran away. He definitely knows what's going on. In fact, Zerglings did a comeback, respond to that probe, they take him out. And they did then move away from their position originally that they had, like a south and a west position over here outside of the base of Stork. He's now got, what, about nine Zealots right now. And here he's splitting up his Zerg forces once again.
Yeah, once again, he's moving around the map. He wants to make sure his opponent is not getting the expansions he wanted. I don't think Mondragon is going to go with the Hydralisk rush to the front of his base like he expected. Mondragon's a good player. If his opponent's found out what he's doing, he's not going to sit there and waste time trying to do it anyways, because with a player like Stork, all he has to do is know what you're doing, and he's going to respond with the correct units, the correct cannon positioning and everything like that, and come back and beat you. So instead, Mondragon has gotten the layer, which means he's going to be using these Hydralisks here to make lurkers to cover an expansion over here. And at this point in time, it looks like this game is going to be a reasonably defensive game by both players. It's going to be a macro game.
So let me ask you this, because I do see that southeast there is new expansion going up here for Zerg player Mondragon. And then also he has scouted the northwest with a single Zergling. You know, how smart would it be for Mondragon to actually try to take over this expansion as well? Would it be crippling to Stork's economy, or would it just be much more difficult to defend?
It would be pretty difficult to defend. It would be very crippling to Stork's economy, but at this point in time, Stork kind of has a little bit of an edge now that his the tech pattern he was following has kind of been revealed. So at this point in time, what Stork's going to be doing is getting a lot of Zealots with the leg upgrade, the weapons upgrade, and he's going to have High Templar with that. Meanwhile, Mondragon is just going to play defensively at this point in time. Now here comes a probe. It was going to expand there. It looks like he's going to just zip by and not do that.
Zealots are on the move there, buddy.
Oh, nice block over here by Mondragon, not letting those very strong Zealots get through here. Mondragon looks like he wants to set up for some kind of surround attack. He is going to have enough Hydralisks here. I actually didn't see these Hydralisks here before. I would have said something about them. Meanwhile, Stork trying to figure out exactly how he's going to get around his opponent so he can do some damage. Now, notice he has a +1 attack upgrade. That means those Zealots do a little bit more damage than normal. But it looks like Stork has a lot. No, he does not have a lot. Okay, here come the rest of the Zealots coming up from behind. Now, he's got to micro everything very carefully right now. The Zealots from the behind coming up and doing a lot of damage to those Hydralisks. So these Zealots are just... Stork's definitely going to come out on top right now. Mondragon did do a lot of damage, but probably not enough, Marcus.
Yeah, lost almost that entire army right there, and the result is 7 Zealots left now for Stork. But he's got another wave of Hydralisks out here and ready to attack. And it looks like those Zealots are going to go down to the southeast expansion right here. It looks like a sunken colony trying to go up, but they're going to try to take out this Zerg hatchery.
It looks like he managed to get out in time. He wanted to try to pick off that hatchery and then leave. That's what you can do really easily with Speed Zealots. You can go in there, pick off your opponent's expansion, and then get the hell out of there before your opponents send his army there. But it didn't look like it worked out. And meanwhile, we got Templars over here coming into play. That's going to be very bad for Mondragon's Hydralisks.
You can see he's got 3 of them right over here, and then another group of Zealots over here. A group of Hydralisks are about ready to meet up with these Zealots in just a moment, and also some Lurkers are out as well.
Now he's going to need to use these Lurkers to defend against anything that his opponent can throw at him. Now this is going to force Stork to use Storms to kill these Lurkers because the Protoss player cannot see the Lurkers burrowed underneath unless he gets an observer. And checking into his base, I don't see. Okay, yes, he does. He does have the. He is equipped to make observers, but his observers have not met up with his army. Meanwhile, Mondragon has already got up another expansion.
There's a lurker. There's a lurker inside the base back here. It's about ready to take out the probe line. This is at the natural expansion right here. He's put it down. It's already taken out 1 probe. It's going for another one while more HTs are being put out.
This is not good for Stork right now. Stork needs to go back and get rid of this lurker, which is not allowing Stork to mine minerals. He needs a lot of minerals. But meanwhile, while Mondragon is in return going to try to pick off this expansion, Stork is already outside the front of Mondragon's base. I don't think Mondragon was actually realized his opponent was right there.
Uh-oh.
Now, at this point in time, he's going to rush up here. He's going to try to surround these lurkers. He's storming these lurker eggs. If he gets enough storms off on them, it could, yes, it did kill those lurker eggs. That was Mondragon's only hope. Meanwhile, Mondragon's responding by actually counterattacking his own opponent.
Yes, he is. Archon is out here, but I think these Hydralisks they're getting kind of annihilated here by the photon cannons. They're moving up here, taking out 1, taking out a second one as well. And it's basically a race to see who's going to take out which base first.
It looks like at this point in time, the Zerg definitely has a big advantage right now. He's going to burrow that lurker. That's going to make it a little bit more difficult to get up his ramp, but it looks like the attack over here on his opponent's base failed, and they had to give up there.
I actually thought that Mondragon may have had something going on right there. First off, with the lurker there at the natural expansion, why though did he make the decision to GG out of the game? Was it just too much at his main base? Was he not ready for that force?
Well, they were kind of playing this game with each other where they were positioning their armies around the map, trying to figure out. Look exactly how can I get in here? How can I take out his expansions? And suddenly they both realized that while they were moving their armies around the map, that they actually had gone around each other basically, and they were closer to their opponent's bases than themselves. Stork, when he realized that, suddenly rushed in, tried to pick off the expansion in the main base that Mondragon had. Mondragon, being the excellent player he was, knew that he would not have the time to go back and try to save himself. And playing against a player like Stork, it's going to be really difficult to recover from something like that. Took his hand and went all in, so to speak, sent his army into that, and tried to just wipe out the front of his opponent's base.
A fantastic match, especially considering we've seen a lot of rushes. This one a little bit more drawn out. 12 minutes was the time. We've broken the 10-minute barrier, Tasteless.
I know. It feels good, Marcos.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Are we going to cast the Savior versus PJ games? The replays, actually? That means that Stork's in the finals, by the way, guys.
All right, so Mondragon's going to come down for an exit interview with you, Tasteless.
Great.
Having lost 2-1 versus his opponent, Stork, winning first time off of a rush, second time, really off of just some fantastic play there. Mondragon, though, looking very impressive, as he always does, and one of the reasons why, as a non-Korean, he still is invited to a lot of competitions that do feature some of the best players in the world, and, of course, WCG. So Tasteless is going to be conducting that interview with Mondragon that we'll have coming up here in just a moment. Our plan is to also get the PJ versus Savior games. I haven't seen them. I know you haven't seen them yet. Yeah, we know the result, but we don't know how it happened, who won first game, who won second game, etc. So hopefully that will be up shortly thereafter as well. So we'll keep you informed on that as much as we can. But Mondragon coming down, and Tasteless will interview him. It will be the exit interview. What do you think about Mondragon's performance here? I mean, it certainly was not shabby by any means. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think both those games were very different. I think the first game ended really fast just because Stork happened to be doing a build that was very good against the opening build that Mondragon did. So, I mean, it's kind of like, well, when Mondragon gets in that difficult situation, can he actually play it out? Can he actually outplay somebody when he's fighting on his back? And it didn't work out that first game. The second game, it was almost a little bit of randomness. It seemed like going on. But
well, I mean, a lot of it actually came down to the paths that they took, and it's one of the things that I've noticed about Neo just being a little bit different is that what if one of those armies would have met in the middle and the battle would have taken place not in the base of one of the others. The other thing also was the Psy Storm on the Lurker eggs.
Oh yeah.
How much would have come into play if those Lurkers would have hatched and been able to take out that Zealot force? What do you think?
I still think Stork would have done a heavy amount of damage and more than his opponent Mondragon did. But at the same time, I just think that I don't know. The Storms just put insult to injury. You know what I mean?
Right. All right, guys. Hold on one second. Tasteless is going to interview Mondragon, and we'll have some more StarCraft coming up here in just a moment.